I hope that at some point in this country, we do have a conversation about what is happening, because we can't just react when it is our side. What was this again? It was, a 20-year-old lone wolf, white, whack job.
In situations like these, I like to show at least some kind of compassion for the other side. If Joe Biden, even though I hate the way that Joe Biden acts, he talks about certain situations, I hate a lot of the decisions that he's made, I hate the state of the country and the entire planet that that we're in right now whenever he's in charge. If he got shot and almost died inches away from death, I would show some kind of compassion. I would say, that's really bad. We shouldn't be doing those things. Praying for him and all that stuff. But of course, whenever Donald Trump gets shot and almost dies inches away from death, Joe Biden is obligated to say nice things that we shouldn't be doing that. And also he's going to be in the same position as Donald Trump someday and doesn't want to be shot, doesn't want to be assassinated. So he's, of course, going to go ahead and disavow that. But the people who are brainwashed and trying to do more brainwashing to their viewers, such as The View, and a lot of people like The View and mainstream media, they, of course, are going to show no compassion. And you could have probably guessed that, but you'll never guess all of the talking points that they go through, all of the ways that they spin this Donald Trump assassination attempt to be in their favor, to be a good thing for the country and for the world. It's insane. These people are absolutely nutty. And I'm not talking out my ass either. Whenever there are situations, and certain people die, right? A lot of people, they jump to use, a lot of people, especially, let's use the jab for an example. And people on the right, people who watch my videos get mad at me whenever I do this. But when somebody on the left dies, when somebody who is shilling for the jab dies, they always say, oh, it's probably because of the jab and all that stuff. And I'm like, guys, let's show some grace and some honor and not try to make this into a political thing and not try to use this to our political advantage. Let's go ahead and show some compassion, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. Yes, we disagree on a lot of different things, and they probably said some harmful things as well, but we can at least show some compassion in the moment of their death, And these people, they just don't have that. They don't have that in their brain. They don't have any honor, respect, or integrity or anything. Anyway, let's get into this clip here of The View using Donald Trump's assassination attempt, near successful assassination attempt, to their advantage. Let's check this out.
Disturbing weekend, you might have noticed, of political violence when a would-be assassin narrowly missed former President Trump during a Pennsylvania rally. In case you haven't seen this, watch it.
Take a look at what happened.
Get down, get down, get down, get down. Shooters down. Are we good to move?
We're good to move.
We're clear.
We're clear.
Watch out.
Wait.
Trump was injured. Former fire chief and father of two, Corey Compertor, was killed. Two more attendees were wounded, but they're in stable condition, thank goodness. President Biden spoke about it from the Oval Office last night. Take a look.
I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We must not go down this road in America. There is no place in America for this kind of violence, or for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to be normalized.
I think we all agree with Biden.
It's honestly, that's one of the rare times that I've heard Biden speak where I'm like, yeah, I agree. That was good. He did a good job. And, I'm sure you can pick it apart and say, oh, look, he started here. He's old. The guy's old. Of course, that's going to happen. I don't think he's fit to be the president by any means of the imagination. But I thought that was a pretty good statement that he made. And it was much needed. It would be great if the entire country could use this as a sign that, holy shit, guys, we've gone too far. Now it's not the government trying to take out certain politicians that they don't like with the JFK situation because they're getting too strong, they're getting too close to the truth, whatever. Now it's citizens trying to take out presidential candidates because we're so brainwashed and we're so emotional about these situations. Maybe we should turn down the temperature a bit, zoom out and realize this is getting a little bit, it's becoming a little bit too much. I wish the entire country would do that and say that, realize that, but it's probably not going to happen. It would be great if it did, though.
Right? And Trump said that he's rewriting his RNC speech to call for unity also. So they're both trying to lower the temperature. Is that even possible, ladies?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank God that the former president's okay. I applaud Secret Service. Listen, there's going to be some postmortems on what went wrong, but those who rushed the stage to make sure he was okay, because we're milliseconds and millimeters from a very different outcome and a very different conversation we'd be having in our country today. I think it's a moment for reflection on the tone and tenor of our politics. And one thing that is fundamentally American is the right to criticize policies. It is also our right to criticize the character of our politicians, but the way in which we do it matters. And we live in an era where escalatory rhetoric and saying the most damning and most inciting thing oftentimes is what's rewarded. And I think it's incumbent on all of us to just check how we engage. And then looking to the fact that we live in the era of information warfare. On our phones, there are algorithms that are pumping to us information every day meant to make us hate our fellow Americans.
That's what you do, dumbass. That's what this show does. This show does it worse than any show. You guys know I make a lot of videos about The View because they say some nutty stuff every single day. And it's the most inflammatory of the content that I cover. Like, I talk about a lot of different people, a lot of different names, a lot of different lunatics on this channel. The View says the most insane and inflammatory things out of everyone. So this is very rich coming from someone. This is supposed to be like the token conservative of The View, but she never says anything conservative ever. And she never agrees with anything that any conservative says. So it's just nonsense. But you're the problem. This show is the problem. You know, it epitomizes the problem in the United States right now.
Our foreign adversaries are on our social media. They're putting information to validate our worst assumptions about fellow Americans. We can have different political viewpoints in this country, and we can still respect each other and respect each other's right to different opinions and come together as a country, because the way you defeat America, it's not with bombs, it's not with missiles, it's tearing us apart from within. If you care about democracy, listen more, say less.
So, you know, I'm very happy Donald Trump is safe. Full stop, period. And I condemn all forms of political violence. I'm simply heartbroken for the family of Cory Compertori, a volunteer fire chief, a father, a husband who lost his life shielding his family simply for going to a political rally. And I was watching it live because I thought he was going to announce his VP that day. That was part of what was being said. And I immediately thought it was a shooting. And I was shocked and I was heartbroken because I fled political violence in Nicaragua. And to me, this is something that's not supposed to happen in America. I felt the same way when I did watching January 6th. These attacks on democracy, on America, don't happen in this country. They got
to tie it back, man. They can't ever say, like, you know, it's not ever like, you notice how they never say our side has gone too far. It's we as a country have gone too far, which I agree, but the left goes a lot farther. Like, for sure. There's a lot of lunatics on the right as well, no doubt about it. But the left goes a lot farther on average. Like, they are absolutely insane, you know? But they'll never say that. They're like, you know, and I felt the same way about January 6th. Like, they just got to bring it back to, like, why the other side is so much worse. And I appreciate the fact that they're saying they're glad that Donald Trump is safe. I do not believe it at all that they're glad that Donald Trump is safe. I think they 100% do not want him to be safe. But that's just me. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with me.
happen in other places. And I'm very happy for President Biden. I'm very happy that he's taking the opportunity to be on air now 3 times, asking us to call on our better angels, asking us to unite, asking us to tamp down the rhetoric. I'm going to try to heed his words. Today is a day, I think, and this entire time for self-reflection and a call to unity. I truly hope Donald Trump uses the platform he has to do that. And I also need to say, I hope that at some point in this country, we do have a conversation about what is happening, because we can't just react when it is our side. What was this again? It was, a 20-year-old lone wolf, white, whack job with East.
There you go. Not only do they tie it back to January 6th, but they tie it back to him being a white whack job. Notice how they never said that he is a leftist. No, never said that he's on the woke side. Never said he's on their side. Nope, he's just a white whack job. That's what she says. The View is just, this is a bad place. This is a dangerous thing to have on television.
See access to a gun. And we have to have a conversation about that, because it wasn't a drag queen. It wasn't an immigrant. It wasn't a pissed off liberal woman. This is...
No, it was a pissed off liberal man. That's who it was. And of course, now not only do they bring it back to J6, they bring it back to him being a white whack job. Now they're bringing it back to how can we spend this to promote gun control? It should just be about the fact that the political state, the political discourse, the political warfare that's going on, it's gone too far, especially because of shows like The View, and especially with people on the same side as The View. But they'll never say that. They will never accept accountability. They'll definitely never say that they're partly responsible for something like this. And they'll definitely never say that their side is partly responsible. Nope. He's just a white whack job. And this just reminds them just of J6 and the fact that we need more gun control. That's what the View gets out of this. Absolutely insane.
This keeps happening, and we need to react not as left or right, not as Republicans or Democrats. We need to react as Americans, and we need to ask better.
Okay, I just want to add that the shooter, yes, he was a 20-year-old kitchen worker from nearby Bethel Park in Pennsylvania. According to a CNN report, a senior law enforcement official said that he bought 50 rounds of ammunition from a local gun store hours before the rally. Shouldn't that have been reported? Somebody buys a 20-year-old white guy? I mean, we've seen that many times now, young white men with guns, and nobody reported that he bought 50 rounds of ammunition?
Well, there's also
these people are they're sick in the head. They're absolutely sick in the head, and I'm really just tired of it. The fact that they bring it back to him being a white guy multiple times. Have they ever talked about black on black crime or anything like that in Chicago and New York and all these places? And I'm not trying to make it like a tit for tat thing where it's like, oh yeah, look at all the black people that have crime. But I'm just saying they only focus on the white people that with the crime, which is ironic because Joy Behar is white, and yet they're trying to make white people look so bad so desperately. It just makes it like more solidified in my head. These people are paid off to say these things. But it still pisses me off just the same because this is dangerous. You know, this is dangerous rhetoric, and it's also nonsense. But the people who watch this, they don't view it as nonsense. They think this is the truth. So I just notice how they keep bringing it back to the fact that it's a white shooter. Never talk about how I know he was a registered Republican or whatever, but let's be real, guys. He's woke. Like, he was a liberal for sure. Hated Donald Trump, and obviously, and they never talk about that. It's just the fact that he's a white guy, 20-year-old, and we should have more gun control. You know, it's just the show's insane.
a post-mortem, as Alyssa said, is really needed, because if you look at the layout of this speech, there was one building that they had not checked at all, which seems like a very blatant oversight of some form. So I know those meetings will be had. When you mentioned this seems of another place, like this doesn't happen in America, I feel like this seems like another time, because most of us have only read about assassinations or attempts in history.
I was there.
Well, okay.
For
I was
all
going to
of them,
let you go
including
with
Lincoln.
my age reference too. But I mean, you read about them, kind of like the 60s were rife with these sorts of things.
It was a terrible time in America. To say that this doesn't happen in America is false.
No, but I mean,
it happened, and it happened in your lifetimes to Reagan.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Yes.
And Gerald Ford there were attempted attacks on his life. I was there when Martin
all
Luther
of these
King was
examples
shot.
you're having are a very long time ago.
But Sarah, just in the last 7 years, Steve Scalise.
I know
January
Can I
6th,
just
Mike
finish
Pence.
my point? There's a lot of
Pelosi.
political violence. I recognize
Gabby
that,
Gifford.
and I think the fact that President Biden came out and did exactly what he should. First of all, he referenced he had spoken with the former president. He referenced the victims of this, and then he had a very unifying message about we are all the same in recognizing that political violence has no place in this country. I also think there'll be a unique example not only to self-reflect, but we already heard that President Trump has changed his remarks at the RNC to have a more unifying tone. Stranger things have happened. People that have had illnesses or near-death experiences, sometimes that can be a wake-up call to change things. So I really hope this is a lasting.
Sonny, we'll come back to you when we come back.
It's so funny how they're saying, oh, it's so great how Joe Biden had such a unifying message, and hopefully Donald Trump does the same thing. He also changes his ways, and he also has a unifying message at the RNC. It's like, yeah, you're saying it's all great that they have a unifying message, and yet you just keep bringing up the fact that this guy's white. And it's just like J6 when it's not even close. Like, there was nothing even close to that happened on J6. Nobody tried to assassinate any politicians on J6. They brought up Steve Scalise, another, emotional liberal, tried to assassinate Steve Scalise. And, they're just bringing it back to more division. They're just trying to cause more division, where they're saying, we need more unity. It's so great that Biden had a message of unity. And they're out here spreading more messages of division. It's just, it's wild what happens on this show. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode of The View. I could play this for the entire episode because they keep going on and on about their talking points, but I'm going to stop it here for the sake of both of our sanities. But let me know in the comments what you thought of Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and the rest of The View, and what they thought about Donald Trump's assassination attempt.